Let's bring in ABC News Chief Legal Analyst Dan Abrams for more. Dan, other courts had largely rejected this argument that Smith's appointment was unconstitutional. So what do you make of Cannon's legal reasoning here? And how much did this hinge on comments from Justice Clarence Thomas in the Supreme Court's recent decision on presidential immunity?
Well, look, let's be clear. This is definitely an outlier, this opinion. But let's also recognize that this is a 93-page, very detailed opinion that was not just written over the weekend. So this is obviously something she has been working on for weeks, and I think that's important. Whether it was Clarence Thomas or whether she had something in mind even before Clarence Thomas had written his opinion, unclear. But when you look at the history, right, when you look at the challenges that have been made over time, this certainly does not fall within the mainstream. And we'll just have to see what happens in the appellate court, where I'm certain that Jack Smith and his team will appeal this decision, as they have another important decision that Judge Aileen Cannon made in the past on this case, where she was overturned.
So, Dan, what recourse does the special counsel have now?
Well, that's what they're going to do, right? It's going to be an appeal, and they're going to go to the 11th Circuit, which is the Court of Appeals that oversees her district, to say that as a legal matter, this is the wrong decision. Now, remember, if this was like a jury verdict, prosecutors can't appeal. Prosecutors can't say the jury got it wrong. But when a judge makes a legal ruling like this before the trial even starts, particularly something where they're saying the case should be dismissed, well, then prosecutors can appeal it, as I expect that they will. Now, of course, remember that this doesn't fundamentally change what would happen before the election. This case was never going to be tried before the election based on the various delays that Judge Cannon had been imposing throughout this case. I never thought there was a chance that this would happen before the election. So as a practical matter, it doesn't change the before the election. The question becomes, if Donald Trump loses, then the cases would presumably move forward. And so then that ruling would become very important as to what happens next.
Let's follow that through. What kind of precedent could this set? Could this decision affect the January 6th case or even other special counsels like the one overseeing the Hunter Biden case?
Right. So she doesn't have the power as a district court judge to set precedent per se. But there is no doubt that if you use some of the reasoning in this opinion, you could apply it to the Hunter Biden case. You could apply it to any of the cases where there's a special counsel, John Durham, etc. Now, the judge would say, oh, wait a sec, there's a difference here between the John Durham case and David Weiss, who's prosecuting Hunter Biden, because they were U.S. attorneys who'd already been confirmed by the Senate. And part of the issue here is the power that the attorney general should have to appoint someone who hasn't been a U.S. attorney confirmed by the Senate. The problem with that is if you actually read the reasoning in her ruling, it goes much further than that. And as a result, if she did have precedent, right, if this was an appellate court opinion and it applied to the Hunter Biden case, you could absolutely use the reasoning that she uses to say that the attorney general shouldn't have the power to appoint this kind of almost, all-powerful special counsel who has so much independent authority.
All right, our chief legal analyst, Dan Abrams. Dan, thank you.
Thank you.